Eala falls to Leylah Fernandez, exits 2026 Stuttgart Open in first round. Eala exited the 2026 Stuttgart Open in the first round on Tuesday, after a straight sets loss to Leylah Fernandez sent her packing from Austria's Porsche Tennis Grand Prix. Fernandez beat Eala 6-1, 6-4 in 1 hour, 28 minutes, using her forehand to dictate rallies early and keep the 20-year-old Filipina star from settling into the match. Eala dropped the opening set quickly before finding more rhythm in the second, but Fernandez controlled the key points. The first set laid the foundation. Fernandez won 20 of the first 26 points while repeatedly targeting Eala's backhand side and finishing points with aggressive forehand patterns. Eala struggled to hold serve early, never finding consistent length. However, Eala responded in the second. She studied her ground strokes, held serve more comfortably, and pushed Fernandez into longer exchanges. Fernandez then raised her level 8, breaking at 4-4 before cleanly serving out the match. The result ends Eala's first main draw Stuttgart Open appearance, a key clay court stop ahead of Europe's spring swing and another chance for Eala to test herself against the sport's top-ranked players. It also follows her recent quarter-final run at the 2026 Miami Open, where she put together one of the best results of her young career before falling short of the semifinals. That bigger picture still matters. Eala's rise over the past year has included deep runs at WTA-level events while expectations continue to grow for the top young tennis prospect. Eala gears up for 2026 Madrid Open after Stuttgart Open exit. While her Stuttgart Open run ended earlier than expected, Eala will look to bounce back at the 2026 Madrid Open, where she's set to play her first WTA 1000 clay event of the season. The Madrid Open kicks off on April 21st, giving Eala another chance to build momentum as she continues adjusting through the WTA's spring swing. Under the soft glow of Stuttgart's indoor clay, where the ball skids just a fraction differently and every rally feels like a test of patience, a quiet story unfolded, one not of triumph, but of arrival. Eala walked onto the court carrying more than a racket. She carried a nation's curiosity, the weight of rising expectations, and the fragile excitement that surrounds a young player stepping into the deep end of professional tennis. Across the net stood Leylah Fernandez, battle-tested, sharp, and familiar with the rhythms of high-stakes matches. On paper, it was a first-round clash at the 2026 Stuttgart Open. But beneath the surface, it felt like a passing of experience, a moment where potential met proof. The match began with energy. Eala moved lightly, her footwork tracing patterns across the clay, like an artist unsure of the final painting but confident in each stroke. Her left-handed shots carried angles that hinted at creativity, at a future where she could trouble even the best. For a few games, the court seemed balanced, two players exchanging not just points, but intent. But tennis has a way of revealing layers. Fernandez did not rush. She absorbed. Where Eala painted, Fernandez calculated. Each return came back deeper, heavier, more deliberate. Rallies stretched longer, and in those extra seconds, the subtle spaces where matches are decided, experience began to speak. It wasn't loud or dramatic. It was quiet, almost invisible. A better choice here. A steadier hand there. And slowly, the match tilted. Eala's shots, once fluid, began to carry urgency. Not panic, but a slight tightening, the kind that creeps in when a player realizes that brilliance alone may not be enough. Fernandez, meanwhile, grew more composed, her game settling into a rhythm that felt inevitable. This is the difference at the highest level. Not just talent, but timing. Not just skill, but selection. Not just courage, but control. By the end, the scoreboard told a simple story. Eala had fallen in the first round. But the scoreboard, as it often does, missed the deeper narrative. Because this was not merely a loss. It was a glimpse. Eala's presence in Stuttgart itself is part of a larger arc. She represents a new wave of tennis, one less defined by geography and more by opportunity. Her journey from the Philippines to global tournaments is not just personal, it's symbolic. Each match she plays expands the boundaries of where tennis dreams can begin. Against Fernandez, Those dreams met resistance. But resistance is not rejection, it is refinement. There were moments in the match, brief, flickering, where Eala's potential shone clearly. A sharp cross-court winner, a fearless return, a rally constructed with intelligence beyond her years. These were not accidents, they were signals. Signals of what might come. Fernández, to her credit, understood the assignment perfectly. She did not underestimate. She did not drift. She played like someone who has learned, perhaps the hard way, that every round matters. Her victory was not just about advancing, it was about maintaining her own trajectory in a tournament filled with elite competition. And so, their paths diverged. Fernández moved forward, deeper into the Stuttgart draw, carrying momentum and confidence. Eala stepped off the court, carrying something less visible, but equally valuable. Perspective. Loss in tennis is rarely final. It lingers, teaches, reshapes. For a young player like Eala, matches like this become reference points. Not scars, but maps. They show where the gaps are, where the game needs sharpening, where the mind must grow stronger. Stuttgart, with its unusual indoor clay and demanding conditions, is not an easy place to find rhythm. Even seasoned players struggle here. For Eala, it was an initiation of sorts, a first taste of how unforgiving the professional circuit can be. And yet, there is something quietly powerful about first-round exits. They strip away illusion. They force clarity. They remind a player that progress is not linear, that growth often hides inside defeat. As the crowd filtered out and the lights dimmed, the court returned to silence. Another match completed. Another name advanced. Another eliminated. But somewhere beyond the result, a story continued. Eala did not win in Stuttgart, but she learned the tempo of this level, the precision it demands, the patience it rewards, the resilience it requires. And those lessons do not fade when the match ends. They travel, they accumulate, they transform. One day, perhaps not too far away, she will return to courts like this, not as the hopeful newcomer, but as the player others prepare for. And when that day comes, this loss, to Leylah Fernandez, in the first round of Stuttgart, may no longer feel like an ending. Subscribe to the channel, like, comment, share, and press the bell icon next to it.